American Civil War was fought from 1861 to 1865 to determine the survival of the Union or the independence for the Confederacy. This conflict was of interest to many people of America, but they had little means of communication or insight as to what was going on. Although some people would rely on the news of a win or a loss in the war, the people at home had just an idea in their head of what was happening on the battlefields of the Civil War. The idea of a camera was being worked on harder and harder every day so that it could potentially capture black and white still shots of what was really happening during the Civil War. Photographers such as Matthew Brady, Alexander Gardner, and Timothy O'Sullivan were some of the first to venture into the battlefield and try to capture the true essence of the Civil War. However, in the 19th century, it was not as simple as take out your iPhone and snap a quick picture for these photographers. The task of what we simply think of today as taking a picture was extremely time-consuming. The camera they held weighed an average of 9.5 pounds, and when they took a picture, it wouldn't just show up in their camera roll. They had to go through a tedious procedure to complete the processing of an image. The photographer then had to bring the still shot to a room for it to be processed by being in total darkness. These rooms were appropriately named dark rooms, which photographers had to carry in their wagons along with all of their other equipment. When the photographers were done capturing and processing their pictures, many could find the photos in different ways as they primarily circulated in magazines or serial publications. This came as a stunning realization to many, as the war was nothing like they thought it was. For the first time in American history, citizens on the home front could view the actual carnage of faraway battlefields. Prior to seeing pictures of the Civil War, people thought that the war was similar to Victorian-era romantic readings. This is due to the fact that the American Civil War was fought during the peak of the Romanticism movement. So many away from the war assumed that those involved in the Civil War fell under the Romanticism realm, but when people saw the photos of the tragedy, their thought of this romantic-like idea was immediately stripped away. Although photography did show images of gore and carnage that many did not expect to see, photographs during this time did bring a real perspective of the war to people away from it so that they could have an accurate portrayal of the war. If it weren't for photographers following around important generals like Robert E. Lee or Ulysses S. Grant, the people away from the fighting would have been completely blinded as to what was going on within their country during one of the most important times in its history.